and girls. I have 2 sisters and 2 brothers, and I can't imagine my life without them. Long ago, a young boy was separated from his family during a war. His parents didn't think they would ever see their son again. They never talked about him, and his younger brothers and sisters grew up hardly even knowing he existed. But the boy never stopped looking for his family, and when he finally found them, his brothers and sisters were shocked to discover that they even had a missing brother. Some of them were not thrilled with the news, and they thought their family was big enough already. It was sort of like that for the Jews long ago. They knew they were God's people, but they didn't know that all the other people on the earth belonged to God too. They were really surprised to find out that they had other brothers and sisters in the family, and some of them were not happy about it. Today, we'll hear how a group of women learned that they were not the only ones in God's family. They learned a lot of other things, too. You're going to love this story. But right now, let's get ready for Nature Time.
Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to Nature Time. Hey, Ranger Rod, what are these things?
Oh, Ranger Jim, these are one of my favorite land mammals. I love elk, and we're here in beautiful western Montana, and we're privileged to be on the Rasmussen Ranch, and look at these beautiful creatures God's created.
You should have said beautiful western windy Montana.
Well, yeah, you have to kind of grab your hat once in a while, but that's the way we like it out here in the West.
That they are just beautiful creatures. Tell us about this huge rack on these. Do both of these, the cows and the bulls, have rack?
No, only the bulls. This is the second largest of the North American species of deer species, I should say. Moose being the largest. Wapiti, which is an Indian name for white rump or elk. Right. That's their name. They're the second largest deer species. What makes them a deer species is that they drop these beautiful antlers every spring and start to grow brand new ones. So these antlers that you see on these great big bulls, they're fresh. They're just growing them. In fact, you'll see that they're in the velvet right now, and that velvet is very important for the growth of these antlers. In fact, maybe you could tell us just a little bit about that, Ranger Jim.
Well, there's quite a few things that are interesting about it. That's very sensitive to mosquitoes and bugs because it is full of blood, but it also serves, and that can grow as much as a full inch every day.
Wow.
This is a tremendous growth rate. This helps to generate heat in a very hot climate, and the blood passing through all of this new growth is cooled out on this outer surface, is passed back through the heart, back through the system, and helps to cool the creature.
Isn't that amazing?
And people would say that all just happened, it just evolved.
Well, that certainly didn't just evolve. That's a beautiful creation, and that proves to me that there is a creator that loves the beautiful. He knew I would love them. You know, Ranger Jim, I almost hate to admit this, I spend hundreds of hours a year searching for these shed antlers of these big bulls. I love them. I have a passion for them. On another segment, we're going to talk about antlers, but right now with these beautiful, beautiful elk in the background, we've got some cows here as well. Now their calves are hid out here in this large prairie area in the brush, or they'll hide them in the deep grass, and so that's why you're not seeing their little calves with them right now. But right now they have small calves.
And in fact, when we were driving out here in a vehicle, the man driving us was very careful not to drive through dense grass, because even with a truck approaching, if we ran over them, they would die. They would not move. Their mother placed them there. And boys and girls, when these creatures are born, they are scentless. The best dog in the world can walk right by 10 feet away. He would never smell this creature. But speaking of smelling, now you're an authority on these. They tell me the most beautiful scent in the world to the female elk is the bull elk. Now tell me about the practice. How does he get perfumed up?
Well, I'll tell you, Ranger Jim, every fall, about early September, these bulls, God has created within them a certain hormone that starts to pump through their bodies, and they go into what we call the rut. And when they go into the rut, they've lost the velvet off their antlers. They go into the rut. They start to change their behavior a little bit. They begin to fight one another. They begin to rub those great big antlers on trees. In fact, I was run up a tree one time by a big bull elk. I was playing with him with a bugle. They make the most beautiful bugling sound in the fall. That tells other bulls that they're in the area. That, of course, tells the cows that these bulls are ready to join up with them and to create some herds and start new families. And so in the fall, you can hear these beautiful bugles ringing through the mountains, ringing through the prairies where these beautiful animals are. and that begins the process where they begin to congregate, make these big herds in the fall.
Well, what I want to know is about when he paws in the ground and makes this big wallow, and boys and girls, pardon me for the expression, but then every time he goes to the bathroom, he goes there and he urinates in this big hole. And then maybe you have seen your dog go out and there's an old dead rabbit or something and he wants to lay down and wallow in it. This creature has the same instinct to do that. And this huge, big, beautiful elk that we see lays down and wallows in all this terrible smelling mire and gets it all over him. Then he walks around with his chest out. I'm the most beautiful, handsome, best smelling bull elk in all of the whole prairie. And the cows all think so. Now to me, ugh, he smells worse than 2 dead skunks.
Well, if you're out in the woods and you're looking for the opportunity to take a picture of one of these beautiful creatures and you smell that, and I have many, many, many times, you start to quiet down, you start looking into the wind, you start being careful how you climb over the next rise, because you're about to get the treat of your life, just what the boys and girls have got to see here today. One of these beautiful bulls, maybe just over the rise, right there for you to get a beautiful picture of him.
You see, this is when we're sorry it's limited to this much time, boys and girls, because as you can see, Ranger Rod and Ranger Jim are 2 of a kind. We just
Amen.
love these creatures. We look at them and say, look what our Father made.
Amen.
Isn't that wonderful? So, Ranger Jim here saying,
And Ranger Rod
saying, don't forget to tell Jesus you love him, because he
really does
love
you.
Behold, behold, I stand at the door and knock, knock, knock. Behold, behold, I stand at the door and knock, knock, knock. If any girl hear my voice, if any boy hear my voice, and will open, open, open the door, I will come in. Behold, behold, I stand at the door and knock, knock, knock. Behold, behold, I stand at the door and knock, knock, knock. If any girl hear my voice, if any boy hear my voice, and will open, open, open the door, I will come in. I will come in.
Welcome to Learning Time. I'm glad that you're with us today. You know, we've got an experiment that you can do at home. Now, how many of you like to do experiments? Oh, I do too. Well, this is an interesting experiment. What you need for this is a stick like this. It's rather thin and it's kind of long, and they can be different shapes and sizes as far as this goes, okay? And that really affects the sound. Well, this thing makes a sound. And in fact, this is a very old instrument. I mean, not this one. I just made it. You understand that, right? Yeah, but I mean, it's very old. It's an ancient instrument, and it's a musical instrument, and it was used in traditions and ceremonies all over the world, practically. Well, what does it do? Well, it makes a sound. In fact, some of the sounds that it makes are really quite interesting. Would you like to hear the sound? Yeah! Okay, well, you know that in order for us to have sound, something has to what? Vibrate. So this little stick has to vibrate through the air, and we do that by making it go around our head. Now I'm going to try to make it go around in a circle like this so it doesn't come out at you. Are you ready? Yeah. Okay, listen very carefully and see if we can pick up a sound here. Here we go. Let's check this out. Hang on. Whoa. Did you hear that? Yeah. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Well, maybe you can scare your little brother or sister with that. That would be interesting. And look, it's spinning, isn't it? Yeah. This little stick started to spin in the air. And that caused a vibration in the air. The air carried the vibration, and what do you suppose received the sound? That's right, your 2 satellite dishes. That's right. They're right on our ears. You know, they used to communicate sometimes with these. This is called a bull roarer. Can you say that? Bull roarer. Kind of a funny word, isn't it? That's right. But you know, if you spin it very slowly, it has a low frequency sound. And as it spins faster, the sound frequency goes up. And that's how they used to communicate. And they could actually send some sound codes to each other. Kind of like smoke signals, only using your ears rather than your eyes. Shall we try it again?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Listen, we're going to try to get it going real slow. Can you hear the sound?
No.
Not yet. It's not vibrating yet. Here it comes. I think it's coming. Come on. Let's go. That's a low sound. We're going to do it faster. Isn't that cool? That is really cool. You can have fun making a bull roar at home, but be careful. You don't want to hit anybody, do you? No, I don't either. Remember, all those sounds we can hear. Some sounds are good sounds, like your voice, right? And singing and music, and nature makes some good sounds too. But bad sounds are very loud sounds, like in a factory, maybe in a city where you have lots of noise and machinery. We have to protect our ears if that's too loud for us, right? We can injure our ears. I think that God wants us only to hear good sounds and good things. So that means we can, what? Learn, right? We learn by hearing, don't we? I do too. Hey, boys and girls, remember that every time we learn more about science, we learn more about our Creator God.
Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to Talk Time. Today, we are going to answer your questions. I'm here with our Kids Time pastor, Pastor Ronald.
Hi, Miss Brenda. Hi, boys and girls.
Well, today, Pastor, I have quite a few questions have come in this week. Are you ready to get started?
I sure am. Let's go for it.
Okay. All right, this one says, this is there's not a name to this one, and that's okay, boys and girls. If you don't want to give me your name, that's all right. Will there be skateboards in heaven? I'm really good at it.
You know, I used to skateboard also. I could ollie and do all that kind of stuff. I fell down a few times also. But you know, if there are going to be skateboards in heaven, I do know that there won't be any that we had on earth. Because Peter tells us that everything here, the elements will melt with fervent heat. But you know, heaven is going to be a happy place, isn't it?
That's right.
It's going to be filled with joy and laughter and fun things to do. And I don't see why God couldn't create for us a skateboard if He wanted to.
But the short answer is we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. Okay, let me pull another one out. If church is holy, then why don't people remove their shoes?
You know, there's one place in the Bible where we're told of someone who took their shoes off, and that was Moses, in the presence of God at the burning bush. Now, the reason he did that, it was a sign of very, very great respect. We call it reverence. So that was the way that they showed reverence back then, by taking their shoes off in the presence of God. We need to show the greatest respect also for God when we are in His church. Right, Miss Brenda?
That's right.
And how do we show reverence today, or the greatest respect that we can?
By being quiet.
By being quiet.
Not whispering and talking or eating food in church.
There you go. By putting on our best clothes.
Yes.
And being on our best behavior.
Yes.
And paying attention to what we're being taught.
Yes. Do you know, when I was in Japan and I went to people's homes, you had left your shoes outside their door.
That's right.
And but I understand in Japan, I'm not sure about this, but I think it's because of cleanliness, isn't it? They don't want the dirt from the street and the bottom of your shoes going throughout their house, which kind of makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
That's correct. It certainly does.
It does.
Yes.
Okay, let's answer another question here. No name on this one. My dad is an alcoholic and beats my mom, and I hate him. Don't tell me to pray, because I've tried that and it don't work.
Sounds like this young person is angry. And anyone who is going through this experience would be angry. I would be angry too.
It's never God's will that anything bad happen to us.
Even though we get angry, don't blame God. It's not God's fault. God is not the one who's causing your dad to drink or do anything wrong. You know, the devil is causing that, and sin is causing that. And don't give up on prayer. Prayer is the mightiest resource that we have. It's the greatest thing we can do. Pray that God will soften your dad's heart and make him become a new person.
But he said he's tried that, and so how long should he keep praying?
Should keep praying, keep on praying. Don't give up. You know, some answers come very quickly. Some answers take a longer time to come. And the reason is, God does not want to force anybody's will.
That's right.
God could touch your dad right now. He could touch him and he can change his mind right away. But that would be taking away his freedom of choice. And God doesn't work that way.
No.
He wants us to love him and obey him because we want to, not because we're forced to.
but he can pray that the Holy Spirit will start working on his dad's heart. Even his dad is too weak maybe to even know to pray that prayer himself. He can pray that prayer for his dad.
That's right.
And also I want him to pray for his mom.
I think so.
Who is in a relationship with his dad where she's being beat.
And she needs wisdom to know how to deal with that also.
Yes.
If her life is in danger, she may need to get out of that situation.
Yes.
But here's a promise that I want to share with you that it's very dear to me. It's in Proverbs 21, verse 1. I'm not going to quote it. I'm going to tell you what it means. Basically, it means that the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, and God can turn it. God can turn any human heart. He can soften your father's heart and change him and help him want to be a new person.
And what a day that will be, right?
Definitely.
So don't give up on your dad.
Don't give up.
Well, boys and girls, if you have a question for Pastor Ronald, you can mail them to 3abn or email them to me at this address, kidstime@3abn.org, because your questions are important to us and your questions are important to Jesus.
Do you know what I heard? That Jesus was preaching to people on a hillside and they were hungry, so he took a little boy's lunch with 5 loaves and 2 fishes and blessed it and fed 5,000 men plus women and children?
That's all the food he had, and he fed all those people?
That's exactly what I've heard. I don't know if it's true.
Well, I did hear that he calmed a storm.
A storm?
I even heard that he's cast out demons.
Now that is impossible.
That's what I heard.
It is possible. Excuse me, but who are you?
I'm from Canaan.
She's from Canaan. We better stick together, ladies.
Yes, I am from Canaan, and I know that Jesus can heal demon-possessed people.
How would a Canaanite woman know about Jesus?
Because he healed my daughter. She was demon-possessed. And it was terrible living with her. She would cut herself. Sometimes she would attack me. She would get angry and start shouting and screaming. Sometimes she would even run through the town. So when I heard that Jesus was coming nearby my town, I ran out to meet him. I just had to meet Jesus and ask him to heal my daughter.
She actually met Jesus at
I
Nazareth?
did meet Jesus.
She could have met Jesus.
I did meet him.
Wait a minute. How could a Canaanite woman know Jesus?
Of course,
How?
of course I
You
met
better
him.
just stand back here.
I don't.
Of course I met him. And you know what? He had 12 disciples with him.
We know about the 12 disciples.
They
that
said
follow him
something
around.
similar. They said to get rid of her. She's shouting after us. But Jesus was so compassionate. He looked at them and he said, I have come for the lost sheep of Israel.
Well, that certainly wouldn't be us.
Oh, we're not
lost.
Jesus was speaking about people like me, Canaanites, Gentiles, people that aren't Jews.
We know.
He came for people like us.
No, he's the God of the Jews. He's not the God of the Gentiles.
We know that.
Well, I have experienced it. I know for myself. Jesus said something amazing. When they said that, I was so embarrassed. I didn't know what to say. But Jesus looked at me and he said, I don't believe he was trying to be mean, but he said, should I take the bread for the children and throw it to the dogs?
Well, exactly. Canaanites are dogs.
That's right.
Well, you have to understand that.
Gentiles.
But when he said that, I just said, Lord, I need you. And I started to worship and cry out to him. And I said, but even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall off the master's table.
They do that.
They do.
They
That's
do.
true. That's true.
And he looked at me and he said, oh, you have such great faith. Whatever it is that you want, the healing of your daughter, let it be done even now. And I was so grateful. I thank God because when I looked, I noticed that at that very moment, my daughter was healed.
Well, how did you know your daughter wasn't with you?
My daughter was healed. She's transformed. She no longer gets angry and shouts and screams. She no longer attacks me. She doesn't try to cut herself. She's like a completely different child.
That would show somebody being changed.
That's right. Demons.
I'm telling you, she is completely different. And I know it was because Jesus had compassion on her and he healed her. In fact, we're going to have a party, a celebration celebration for my daughter in honor of the healing. Would you like to come?
Well, we'll talk about that.
I don't know.
Well, I would like for you to come and see for yourselves that Jesus really did heal my daughter. And when you come, you can ask anyone what she was like, and they will tell you she has been transformed by the power of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Yes. In
That's
fact,
amazing.
my daughter loves dates. Can I purchase some, please?
Certainly.
Wow, she would love these. Do I have enough money?
Well, let's see. Yes, that's enough.
Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing all of you this evening.
Okay.
Come out to the
Well,
celebration.
we'll
We'll talk about that. What do you think?
I don't know.
Well, if it really happened, I would like to go see it for myself.
Well, you know what?
I
I
would
don't
too.
care
I would
about
like to-
what anybody else thinks.
I don't either. I don't either.
We
I want to
could-
go
I've
see
never
it.
been in a Canaanite woman's home, but I want to see this miracle.
She sounds like it really happened.
Well, I want to go. Do you want to come with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you going to come with us?
I'll come as soon as I close up my shop. I'll see you there.
Okay. Well,
We better hurry. I want to see
You
this.
come as soon as you
I'll,
can.
You know,
I'll
I
close
can't
my
believe
shop
this.
and I'll be there.
But I want to
I'll
see this
you
with
later.
my eyes.
Me too.
I've heard about miracles, but I've never seen one. And this is my chance. I want to see. Can you?
Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus because he first loved me.
Hi, boys and girls. It's time for Miss Brenda's Book of the Day. And today's book is Hannah's Girls. This one is about Anne, and it's written by Ruth Merkel, and it's true stories of God's leading in 6 generations of Adventist girls. You won't want to miss this book. Well, today we are going to hear a witnessing story that is something you can do at your house. And I'd like you to meet Josie. Hi, Josie.
Hi.
It's so nice to have you on Kids Time today. And tell me what you do to share Jesus.
I go downtown and give testimonies to the homeless.
You do? Now, you have a picture here. Let me see this picture. What is it? What am I looking at here? Let me put this right here. What am I seeing?
It's a picture of me and my sisters, and they're in front of the Help Ministries bus, which the people that own the bus, they feed the homeless.
So what do you actually do when you help with this van? I saw you have your sisters there with you. So what do you do to help personally?
We set up tables and put water, and we give the water to the homeless.
And you give water out, and you also pass out food to them. What kind of food?
It's soup and cornbread and muffins, pasta.
And pasta. And are the people, do they really appreciate it?
Yes,
Do you ever see the same people over and over again?
yes.
And you remember their names, or you talk to them? Or?
I remember one man, he gave a doll to my sister. His name is Chico, and he's trying to get a part-time job.
Because so many of these people, they just can't get work, so that's why they don't afford homes to live in. It's really sad, and in the Bible it tells us that we're supposed to help the homeless. So I want to thank you for what you're doing for Jesus. Isn't that good, boys and girls? I think we have time for just a couple letters. Let me see, I have one right here, and this is from St. Thomas. Okay, oh, and there's some money in here, and it's 50. I don't know if you call it $50 or what you call your currency there. And a nice picture. While I'm reading it, you can see the picture. It says, "Dear Miss Brenda, I'm writing this letter to tell you about the lessons that you give to me. I love them very much. And I want you to pray for me and my family so that we can all have a better life and a better home to live in. And I would like to see you someday and spend some time with you. I love you all on Kids Tub. Here is $50 for Kids Time. Yours truly, Mary Ann." Mary Ann, thank you so much for that. And I loved your picture, and you had your mom and your dad and a picture of you. And what a good artist you are. Let's see, I have another letter here, and this one's from South Dakota. And let's see, it's from Kylie in South Dakota. And you have something typed here for me, too. Oh, we have a picture. Can you hold this picture up for me? And this says, Dear Miss Brenda, my name is Kylie and I'm 12 years old. I love watching Kids Time. My favorite part of Kids Time is garden time and cooking time. I share Jesus by telling my friends about him, praying for them, and giving people Bible studies that I wrote. I would like you to sign me up for Kids Club, please. I sent a Bible study to you that I wrote so you can study it if you want to. Love, Kylie. And she has written out a Bible study for me. Thank you, Kylie. I will read this. And keep sharing Jesus, won't you? Okay, let's see. I have another one right here, and this one is from Trinidad, and I think there's a picture in this one too. Let's see. Can you hold this one up for me? And a nice, handsome man from Trinidad says, Dear Miss Brenda, I'm writing to let you know that I enjoyed the lessons very much. My mommy reads them for me every morning and evening in worship, and I answer the questions. And on Friday evening for worship, I invite my friends over, and we sing songs to them. I'm sending you a picture myself. Bye from now, Joshua. P.S. I love Kids Time. Joshua, thank you so much for your letter all the way over there in the West Indies, and I just want to thank you so much for all you do for Jesus. And Josie, thank you. Keep on witnessing, and that's a wonderful way, boys and girls, to witness for Jesus. I hope you've gotten some good ideas of how you can witness, because that's what we're all supposed to do, is help those that can't help themselves. Well, that's all the time we have for now. Remember, it's Kids Time to share Jesus. Hey kids, here's a